Hello and welcome to day 3 of creating a peer-to-peer game in Rust. Sorry about the late start. Really apologize for that. All right, so we'll continue where we left off yesterday. I'm going to go and share my screen. All right, here we go. So we've got, all right, am I sharing my screen? Yeah, all right. Okay. So yesterday we managed to get new players to connect to our game, even though they couldn't participate yet. And so the idea was maybe we can recreate the session every time a player joins. And hopefully that's not too expensive of an operation. I mean, I have no idea if that would scale very well, but at least we begin somewhere and we can make those improvements as we go. So yeah, first let's have the session be recreated every time a player joins. And then after that, we'll figure out how to maintain the state so that the game doesn't start over at 0. And then if we need to after that, then we'll do optimization stuff. But yeah, let's do this step by step. All right, so if we're going to create a new P2P session, we're going to need to redo this stuff here. Yeah, I think this is all okay. These are the main parts here that we need. This one thing I'm thinking right now is we don't have this anymore. Oh, I guess that's fine because we can just update this resource. We'll recreate the. All right, we'll recreate the channels. I'll copy this and then I'll change it. Just making sure I'm not missing anything else. Oh, we're gonna need all this session build stuff with the number of players. All right. Yes, max prediction as well. So we need this. I mean, we're basically doing the whole lobby system again. Except for the waiting for players part. Do we need connected players or remain? I don't think we need remaining anywhere else. We don't need connected players either. So everything up until there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. When a new player connects. So we'll see how this turns out. I wouldn't be too surprised if this fails terribly. So player joins. Recreating session. All right, this should work. We still have socket, right? Yeah. Okay, and then the rest we could probably do better. You had a function that both of these systems called so that they're created the same way. But for now, let's go ahead with this. Okay, args.players. That is not going to be the right information. We could do the length of the players here. So players dot length. Where's len? Len. Okay. Len. Right. This, okay, let me just make sure this includes yourself, right? Player type, local, yeah, it does include yourself. So yeah, the length will be the number of players. Right. Everything else will be the same. Session build, add player. Yeah, that's all good. We create all this stuff here. Instead of inserting a resource, you want to update the resource. So we need a mutable reference to it. And then the same for this one. All right. Okay. So let's get those. Forwarding channel. And the type on this one would be that VRTC channel. Okay. Right, and this should be exactly the same as our system right here. VRTC channel. Yep. We just call it the forwarding channel. Yeah, same. All right, and then the next one we need is for the session. And we can actually copy that from right here. Pretty sure this is a session. Yeah. Okay, let's hold on a second. We've got this twice already. Okay. We already have the session. All right, so let's go to here. Okay, this is going to be forwarding dot receiver. This sender. This. I can get rid of this. Okay, And what else do we have left? This one. So this would be session dot how do we update this one? Can I just do session equals? I think I could just do session. You know, I kind of prefer that. So let's do that here as well. Wording channel was. All right, I thought I started late, but now I just realized I was 45 minutes early. So, all right. That's okay. We get some extra time today. Okay. Consider dereferencing here to assign to the mutable or value. Dereferencing. How would that look like? Like this. All right. And all right, so I think this would look similar here. Session equals all right. Looks like it's happy so far. Question is, will this actually behave the way we want? And we'll see if there's anything else that depends on this or is set up in this process. We might end up having duplicated. That's mainly what I think could go wrong. All right, but yeah, let's try it. Oh yeah, it's clear. Okay. Okay, let's build this and then there's a high likelihood. I think there's a high likelihood this doesn't just work. There's multiple things going on. I mean, maybe, but like I said, high likelihood. And if it just works, I'm almost like suspecting that something will go wrong that we wouldn't notice right away. Like having duplicate, like having two sessions going on at once or something. We'll see. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh right, wait. I need the room name. Room is my room. All right. This should be good. Let's press enter here. That game is started. Let's have a third player join. Okay, well, they froze. And we're all frozen. All right. As I said, pretty sure it's gonna be. Okay, and so let's have a look at what we have in the console. Unreachable. Let's check both because this one's joining, the other ones are receiving it. Settings, not settings. Tools, developer tools. Okay, this one's actually happy, but the game's not running. Or is it happy? Maybe. Yeah, I don't see any errors on joining player. Interesting. Well, actually, it's a joining player. That might be fine because the joining player is still going through the regular logic. And it's the existing ones that had everything reset, I guess. New player join, recreating session. Panic index out of bounds. The length is 2, but the index is 2. Okay. All right. That's easier than I thought. And we'll see if that's the only issue. So where was that? I suspect. Oh no, that was not a good idea. Here, 650 protocol. The length is 2, but the index is 2. So somewhere it's not expecting us to have an extra player, right? And it's not here, right? Because it's all the way down in the networking. And this we already know is length 3. Because we logged the players, right? So 1, 2. Okay, wait. Oh yeah, we logged this first, and then we got peer ID connected. I guess we never got the log for all players because this happened immediately after. We logged all players. Oh, interesting. Hold on, maybe this is it. We log all players. It's only when we call update peers that we get the connected player. And that this player list is okay. Socket dot players. Okay, yeah, that's right. Like if I were to move this log inside of here, paste this here. And let's paste it. Okay, let me cut and then paste. All right. Because this actually updates the players, I think. Update the set of peers. It doesn't. Oh yeah, because this only had 2 players. Yeah, it really does. Okay. Socket.players gets updated when this gets called. It looks like anyway. Because we had 2 players here, and then we got the stuff for the connected player. We even had handle 2, which implies that it's the 3rd one. So yeah, I just moved this lock here. But I don't think this solves the issue. Is just should allow us to see that there's actually 3. What's the issue? Well, is there somewhere that we're specifying 2? Or you know what? When we start the session, it maybe gets started with 2 somewhere. And is there something? It's not accessing a resource or anything. Just creating the socket thing. My guess is maybe there's another system running that stores the number of players somewhere. Is there any other resources maybe that need to be updated? Not seeing anything just yet. Number of players. This match session. Okay, well, this only happens once. So this could be problematic. Yeah, we need to call this again. Because this number of players is going to get used when spawning the actual players. Where does that happen? Here, when spawning the cubes and all that player related stuff. And then when there's probably going to be something else that's going to refer to, yeah. So this entity for the player for sure is not going to get created for the third player. So that's one thing. I think this issue is still something else before that even happens. Because I'm looking at here, it's from GGRS network protocol. That must be like before we even get here. Let's see, maybe one of the systems. So one of the systems that reads from the session resource. Where are these systems here? These are our systems. Let's see. Something that would come from GGRS itself. That wouldn't be any of these, I think. That would be in the plugins part. I think. GGRS plugin, potentially. And then the build function build. Don't see anything here. Maybe look at this. No. Yeah, I don't think it needs to know about the number of players at this stage. Move it back to provider. Never provided the ID for the player. Anyway, let's fix the part that we know is an issue, but we'll have to clean up and recreate this whole thing here. Or maybe we can leave it all the same. Can we? Just create the missing player. Maybe it's easier to just clean up all the entities and recreate all of them. What happens when a player disconnects, right? So I'm wondering, like, I don't think I've seen that handled anywhere. So the player would just kind of stay there. They'd probably get carried over. So that's also not ideal. Yeah. But anyway, I think in terms of like what's missing, I think we just need to add a player, and the rest should be okay. Uh, how should we approach this? Set up scene system. We could, of course, not run this only once and have it check every time the number of players changed or something. And then if it did, clean up and recreate everything. Or we could have a separate system that does, the same thing, but just adds players, but only gets triggered when the game's already started. Let's see. This is, yeah, I want to restructure some things because we have like, a massive function which just copy pasted stuff. Anyway, before we do that though, we should make sure this even works. So maybe I just do it directly in this function since we'll be refactoring this anyway. Yeah, so after starting a new session, there must be a place where okay. I think I have an idea of maybe where this went wrong. Never mind. None of the structs store like the number of players or anything. Or maybe there is scoreboard score. No, never mind. Update scores, maybe. Nope. Oh yeah, we already established that was happening in the networking part of GRS. So not here. All right, but we can definitely fix this. Not having a cube issue. No, I want to fix the error first. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is the issue because since we never assigned it, when we set up the scene, we assign every player an ID with the rollback ID provider. And maybe because we now have 3 players, when it goes to the rollback ID provider, this only gives us the next ID. Next. Okay, never mind. This looks like all this does is give another ID. Rollback ID provider. It's just for providing unique IDs. Yeah. That's not the issue. Unless, right, could there be something querying just the number of the number of players. Well, not creating the number of players, but like expecting a certain number of players when it does. I got lost. Yeah, like maybe looking for like creating all the robots because this is a component, and that's how it knows that an entity should be saved or loaded. Do we have rollback on other entities, or is that just on the player? Enemy, yeah, the enemy has one too. So yeah, this is definitely not related to the number of players. So that should not be an issue. Well, it should not be the issue that we're experiencing right now. Yeah, look. Error, there's actually a second error. Unreachable. I think this is the same error. It's caused by the first. Okay, well, extreme exhausted. Right. Yeah. So somewhere it still thinks that we have 2 players. I could rerun it to make sure that the add player actually has the the final player list actually has all the players. Could do that because it could be that the list is not immediately updated when a player connects. It could be on the next frame. Yeah, so we could try that. What else would there be? Knife to pierce. We have to call update pierce. Yeah, establish that. I'll rerun it again, but the issue definitely is not solved. There's one place that comes to mind over here, but we're not using the number of players because we have a room name. If there's a room name, it's just using that. So it's not using the number of players. Room URL, Matchbox, room ID. Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's not Matchbox. It's well, no, it wouldn't know. It wouldn't know about the number of players. Yeah, really not sure. Let's up. So we'll refresh these two. Well, now they're going to join this one. Okay. I'm going to have to. Yeah, because they, okay. I guess they didn't join this one. So this game's running fine. All right. And let's join them now. Oh, and everyone goes up. These two got the error this time. Attempt to subtract overflow. Yeah, because we did like workflow or disconnected, reconnected. Like I already mentioned, there's going to be issues when it comes to disconnecting players. So let's maybe get them all out of this room and start over. I have to fix that as well. Okay, so you join this room, you join this room, and I'll wait for the game to start. Players have joined. And now let's add another player. It's pretty slow. Looks like it's joined. Okay, everything froze now. Is it going to be able to roll back or anything like that? Does not look like it. It's no error yet, right? New player joined, creating session. Just trying to synchronize at this point. All right, we don't have the error from before, weirdly. So open tools. Maybe only one of them has the error. Oh yeah, there we go. This one has the error. So one of them gets the error and then everything freezes up because they can't synchronize. Okay. Maybe we can look at this here. Network protocol. Um, all right. So that's interesting. Let's open this here. I can dock it into place. Network protocol, we want GGRS. Okay. Just gonna look it up on GitHub. I mean, actually, we have it cloned. Could just maybe that's easier. GGRS, this one. So network protocol as like line 630. Pair update the pair connector function is this on input. The disconnect was requested. Is there anything we need to call to clean up a session? Not sure. Okay, none here. That's not what I was looking for. Run GGRST. Too many. All right. Main lobby system. All right, start P2P session. Let's have like an end. I don't think it does. Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, this just gives us a struct to that we had as a resource, but ultimately it's not actually running anything. Systems that are using it would be. Look at this again. So this wouldn't be any wrong. It was 630, right? I peer connect status. Body peer. Okay. So peer connect status, self peer connect status, and body peer connect status are different. Body peer connect status. That's what this would mean, right? Since we're iterating for the length of peer connect status, I'm gonna go ahead and say this body, the peer connect status has the new number of players, but the self one has not been updated yet. So this thinks it's two. Oh wait, no, it would be the opposite. This has 3, and then when it reaches the 3, the body one does not have it. This is on input. I wonder, maybe because we never added, did we never add like an input for this player? So something related to input. I think there's a system related to input. Here, with input system, input. That's actually one of our systems. It doesn't care about the number of players. This is just your own input. All right. Register. Do we have to register? Like this could be, this whole thing could be a concurrency issue too, because I'm not doing anything to handle concurrency. I'm just kind of assuming GGRS already is doing that, which it should, but we could be, since we're using it in a weird way that it probably does not expect, it could be that there are these cases where these concurrency issues pop up, or like race conditions, or let's look at that build function again. So it's default type registry. News just on default. Okay. All right. Let's go down to build. Here we go. Okay, input system, self input system. That's the input of the local player only that we saw earlier. Input system dot initialize. I guess this inserts that system because here it's a future, or if not a future, maybe it's a closure. Yeah, I think it's dynamic system. Okay, maybe it is a system, but it's not initialized, so it needs to do this stage. Stage set update frequency. Okay. Schedule. What settings? I don't think any of this knows or cares. Maybe the type registry. Right? Is there maybe something that updates the type registry and then it's not updated at some point? We get this issue. Add system GGS stage run base set. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at the set type registry first. I'm not sure what the system is. Maybe this might be worth a look. Yeah, let's check the type registry. Type registry. Okay, nothing's really happening here. I guess maybe we could have missed something in the new like start P2P session right here. So I thought it only accessed like itself. Yeah, definitely looks like it. So the player registry here would just be recreated. Like this whole function would go through. You have the proper number of players. So what's the issue here? Yeah, it's just returning. It's going to be in the resource. It's not actually doing anything special. So I think that's where the issue's coming from. GRS. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped. Start P2P session. I feel like maybe I don't know really. So when we have a system that's forwarding stuff, did that system run maybe at one point where it's not supposed to? That could be when we swapped over all the channels and stuff. No, I don't think so, because the moment maybe if there's like a sequence of messages that's expected somewhere. But we got the exact same error, so it seems reproducible enough. Yeah. Maybe recreating the entire session is not going to be as easy as it seemed. Maybe let's take a look at where the error is actually coming from again. Line 630. And let me make sure. The error. This one. Line 630, column 16. 630. It's the actual section down here. All right, yep. So this is definitely where the issue's happening. So maybe what is this body? And why is it not updated? Yeah, looks like it has to do with disconnections. Um, never reaches down here, or actually gets the inputs. It's copying this. So there's no disconnect requested. So I'm wondering, okay, this could be because the players aren't necessarily going to execute that code at the exact same time. So while one player may have detected that there's a new player and recreated the whole session, the other one might not have triggered that code yet. If that were to happen, the one that's late to trigger the code, I don't think would have an issue. But the one that triggers the code too early, yeah, I'm not sure at all. I'm not sure this is even designed for this kind of issue. I don't want to disconnect like on the socket because we still have we're using the same socket this whole time. If we send a disconnect, I guess people want to be dropped from the network. That's not what we want. We just want to drop the session, not the entire network. But obviously this issue is happening. Okay, I'm not in the right file anymore. GGRS network protocol. 630. So this body this one's too short, right? So I don't think, maybe it's not related to disconnected. It's actually the connection never received, right? This should be longer. Dot disconnected or so okay. Hold on a second. So this is assigning a Boolean. And it's either going to be this disconnected or self peer connect status disconnect. So as long as one of them is true, then this will remain true. But yeah, in this case, the element doesn't even exist. Something should have happened to the body before it reached here. Pending output. Yeah, I think we have to disconnect all the players. Every player needs to disconnect. Maybe there's something we can, like some message we can send that will tell GGRS to disconnect, but not Matchbox, right? So, and hopefully it doesn't like drop everything. It just sets the state to disconnected. That way other players know that those messages aren't relevant anymore, or yeah, this is maybe some shaky logic. I'm not sure this is actually gonna work, but I mean, I'm not sure how I would even do that. Right, the session dot typo session. There's no disconnect. Is there? We have. Yeah, I mean, we can't even access the socket, the underlying socket. What is using this session like? Obviously, something has to. Is there something that's using this resource? Sorry, this one. Must be session. Must be something. There has to be because like the logic is happening somewhere, right? And I keep going back to this build. This build function. Because that's where it's doing its stuff. And it would have to be in a system. It's not this input system. How do I input system? I don't know if I'll be able to see it from there. But anyway, input system, input. It's not this. Nor is it anything that we would supply to it. It's something internal. Is this? Let's see. So, none of that. Stage, GGS stage new, which takes the input system. It's also just kind of organizing the Bevy stuff so that things are running in the right stage, I guess. So it's still not a system, it's still not something that runs. Update frequency, schedule, add the schedule, stage set type registry. Then we have add system. This is the last system where we add GGRS stage T run. Where is this run? Perhaps. Let's see. We're getting resource session T. Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, but it's just looks like it's just sending and receiving, or it's pulling messages, whether that's from spectators or not. So not here, but perhaps somewhere else. Again, here we're accessing the session. Run P2P. Okay, this looks like a strong candidate. And indeed the only candidate, I think. All right. And I'm guessing it's gonna pick up like the number of players and do something so that when we update this resource, it's not actually updating number of players, perhaps. Let's see. Local handles, session local player handles. So this would be updated. World. I mean, the only way I could preserve any state from the old one is if it put it in a different resource. Yeah, self. Or is it? What is self? I guess it has some state itself. Snapshots. These snapshots would totally fail. I guess. Inputs. So input system run. Everything's okay, I guess, for now. Session's ready, try to advance. If let some session else. So if this does not exist, okay, session. If session was none, right? If session was none, this would panic this suppression program. That's not happening. But this is curious to me because wouldn't this be running already? Before we created the session in the first place? Because until all players joined, we did not create this resource, right? So yeah, I'm not sure why. Whatever reaches here. I mean, once it does, this is happening regularly. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it kind of assumes that once it's started, it will never be gone. And if this P2P session suddenly becomes something else, right? That might cause issues. Session. Getting the resource here. Again, the same idea. Session at current state. Ah, maybe we could set the state. This is probably gonna be hard to update. It's probably private. Well, this is public, but how do we actually update the state? We have, okay, synchronizing and running. I guess there's no state for offline. If it's running, do this. Yeah, I didn't see it. It doesn't seem like those local inputs. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's an issue with the number of players specifically. There's potentially other issues, but yeah, every frame it's getting local player handles. And then it's getting the number of players from that. So it's creating local inputs, which is the same length. And it's obviously local inputs not really. So it should be fine when it comes to number of players, I think. Let's take a look at local player handles, self-play registry, local player handles. And just iterate that. We created a new session. So this should be updated. Then again, like, how do you keep the players in sync? Because one player may not be updated at the same time as the others. So let's say I'm not sure. Look, this is local player handles actually. And remote player handles. So it doesn't even care about how many players there. This is only, let's see, local handles. That's just the local players. Do we have like remote anything? Sessions running. Local. Add local input. Frame. That's interesting. It looks like we could have like split screen working with this. We could have multiple local inputs. I didn't realize that that was already possible. It's kind of cool, but that's not what we're looking for. That's frame. Hello requests. Yeah, I'm really not sure what could be the issue here. It's getting the input. I mean, that section that was saying like on input inside of not box game, but GGRS. To 6, 7, 3. Body.connect. Body is an input. Different kind of input, I guess, is an input message. It's going to be connect status. Disconnect requested. I really don't want to do this, but I'm wondering if it'd be simpler to just create our own version of GGRS. Not like we did copy the things that we needed and just change a couple things, but I mean, like we might need like a whole different logic because I'm not seeing anything that can handle players joining the game. I may be wrong, but what if we had, let's see, there's any kind of communication we could have before the session starts. Box game, yeah. That would be with the socket. And that would happen, and that would be possible once we have that, which is here. Right, this socket is coming from Matchbox before we get into GGRS stuff. Can I just send anything I want over this? So that's well, I guess I'd pass it into the channel. Oh, I can send directly here. And can I send packet here? And the packet is a box U8. So like, U8 global. What is a packet here? A box U8. So, I mean, it's like a 1 byte. There's a whole bunch of low-level stuff here. I'm not going to rewrite all GGRS for sure. There's got to be a way though. Maybe through the channel, there's a little bit of higher level thing we can do. Channel dot send. We can still only send one packet at a time. You can send it to a specific peer. What are these packets like? If I do receive, what about receive all messages? Okay, but we want to send a message, not a packet, right? Can I send a message? How about the send to? Send to Message, perfect. Yes, I'd much rather deal with something like this. And let's see the type of message. And I want to open it in my IDE. This message right here. Maybe if I go to the function definition. Yeah, message header and body. Okay. Let's look at header first. It has a magic, whatever that is. And then the body, we've got these types of messages we can send. And this is still in Matchbox, right? Like I'm not using GGRS yet. So, but it looks like GGRS trips up on this message somewhere. All right, sync request, sync reply, input acknowledge, I guess. Well, let's see. What is a sync request? Random request. Okay. Yeah, I lost the message. Message body. Sync reply. Random data. So, all right. Input. I think input is where you would actually send like real data. Looks like we have a vector here, bytes. And hopefully this can be arbitrary. And we can just interpret this. Okay, so yeah, maybe all the low level stuff's already covered in Matchbox. Is it? No, not quite. Because what GGRS does is it will keep the players in sync. It will roll back stuff to make sure everyone stays in sync, which is, very valuable when it comes to having any kind of consensus on game state. But if we can already communicate before, is there maybe like a message we could send over it to kind of fix this? Like maybe notify it that there's a new player that's about to join, or that we're about to start the session from scratch again. I don't know. Input acknowledge. That's just the frame. I don't know what quality report is. Okay, frame advantage. Well, that's interesting. Oh, we are in GGRS right now. Somehow I thought we were still in Matchbox. This channel is from GGRS, is it not? This channel type. Sorry, Matchbox. And this channel also from Matchbox. Channel dot send to Matchbox socket, GGRS socket. Where do you see channel? Map. Okay, so this one is not from GGRS, but this function. Let's see. It is from Matchbox. Okay, Matchbox has a GGRS socket in it. Interesting. So I assumed up until this point that GGRS was a layer built on top of Matchbox. And it probably is. Maybe this might be just, helper functions to support that. But I thought I thought Matchbox knew nothing about GGRS, but it does look like it has, at the very least, maybe like helper functions. Implement GGS. Okay. Non-blocking socket for WebRTC channel. I could implement my own non-blocking. Well, I mean, not this, but I could implement something for WebRTC channel. Just from what I gather, WebRTC channel. Okay, well, I don't know how many things are going to on top of this, but thinking like in theory, anything that calls like send or receive, right? As long as it's sending a packet, build packet. What does build packet do? Like I'm really curious because if we're sending a message here, and that message is obviously much bigger than one U8, 1 byte. Self.send. Serialized message. That ends up vector into box slice. Maybe I thought it was a U8, but it's an array of U8. That would make maybe more sense. Packet. Oh yeah, it's a box of array of U8s. Okay. All right, that makes a lot more sense. All right, so we can send anything we want over these. It doesn't even have to be a GGRS message. All right, good to know. I was wondering how tightly those were coupled, but yeah, it looks like you could use Matchbox directly with some other protocol, not necessarily GGRS, to communicate between people. And you can serialize that in whatever format you want. Because yeah. I wish GGRS had a little more documentation. Maybe I may have missed something. So that's maybe even craze.io. And GGRS. Okay. MacroPad is another game engine or framework. And I guess GGRS doesn't have to use Matchbox either. I'm not going to get into this, but I'm just curious. Looks like Okay. Let's not get sidetracked here. So there are some projects using GGRS. All right. That might be worth a look. Following resources. There's actually a wiki, examples, documentation. So yeah, I didn't go through any of this documentation. This probably would have been helpful. Um, Session for all sessions, you have to construct them. You need to specify the players participating. The spectator handle should be equal or greater to them. Okay. I mean, it looks like there's no limit when it comes to spectators. I mean, it sounds like anyway. But I don't think we can just randomly add spectators either. Or at least maybe that's not implemented yet. At first glance, I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. Anything about creating a new session or like having more players join. Hmm. Let's take a look at the examples. There's one example again. And this is more or less the box game potentially. Or not. Just said it was 2 to 4 players. Only a quick look. Um, this one is in macroquad. Okay, that's the one that we. Let's make a different engine. Interestingly, it looks like some of the heavy GGS stuff. This is straight up put into here. They don't have like another library kind of wrap this into a compatible thing for macroprod. So, maybe Bevy GGS is the one that I need to replace. Because for here, it looks like we just add players. Session build. Maybe not. Because let's see, the session. Once it's built, then we have, same thing. We have once the session's built, we can't change it. It's all private stuff. can't add players. I mean, we could add, maybe we could do that. Maybe we could create our own version of it that just we add a function to add players. Like instead of trying to recreate the session every time, which it looks like it's causing issues. If we had the same session and accept new players, maybe that might be okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be our route here. Yeah. So a new plan, instead of recreating the whole session for all the players, we're gonna add the player to like the player registry and whatever other things inside of the session that we need to. And we'll have to have our own version of this, whether that's forked or a copy. I think a copy is sufficient. Hopefully the generics work out that way. If not, we might have to create a fork. Yeah. So, okay, and then here is there any other info that might be useful? Message stats. So I don't see anything helpful here. What we're trying to do. All right. So let's close all this. Sure, there isn't anything helpful. Or making sure that there, if there is, that we've seen it. All right, let's close this. Let's come here and instead of trying to recreate the whole session, let's basically undo everything we've done today. Well, maybe not everything, but a big chunk of what we're doing was not in the lobby system, but in the handle joining players. And instead, all this adding to session. All right. And then we'll do like session dot like add player. What's this is added? Just curious. Okay, change. Looks like there's some macros here. Okay, but this is related to Bevy itself. Because that's a resource, so it's inheriting those tools to deal with resources. All right. So we'll do like add player. Do that in a comment for now because that function doesn't exist yet. What was the Okay. There's a syntax. Anyway. So session. Add player to the session. To do so let's look at our type for the session here. This session is coming from BevyGGRS. Can we use our own type here? It looks like we could use session, and then T could be anything we want. That has config, but that doesn't help us because it's the P2P session itself we want to change, not the T. And then it's a little problematic because the GGRS stuff is going to look for that resource. And so it needs to be the same type. So it needs to be GGRS's type. We can't just like redefine that and use that. So we'll have to fork it. Right. I don't see another way. I mean, unless we also recreate all this, which might be okay. This is just the Bevy GGRS part, so we could change this to okay. GGRS config build. The only thing we'd have to change here is the was it this system? This system here. We're still in BevyGGRS. And the resource that we'd fetch would be our own session. I think that's all we'd have to do. So I guess either we fork GGRS or we don't create our own session, but we don't use BevyGGRS. Yeah, we don't use BevyGGRS. Maybe we do this maybe somewhat manually. I think BevyGGRS is not too huge. It's just kind of wraps around GGRS. Let's have a quick look. So, I mean, yeah, there's quite a few things. For the most part, they can probably stay the same. I mean, maybe BevyGGRS is the one we need to fork. Yeah, it looks like but if we didn't use BevyGGRS, it would be kind of like the modified example where there's no concept of like plugins. We just had this code straight up in there. That might give us more power to do certain things. Yeah. So what's the quickest path to a maybe working prototype, right? Even if in the end we end up doing something a little different, at least that we can prove that this works. I think that would be, we definitely need the add player function. So Yeah, maybe, yeah, I think maybe using the fork, yeah, having a forked version of GGRS with the add player function might be enough, hopefully. Because none of this other stuff, we don't need to change anything in that case. And we already have a fork with no changes on it. So we can just put back that dependency that I think I removed. No, we're still pointing to it, but never mind. Oh yeah, we are. We are. Both going for it. So we can just add the function inside of our fork and test that this actually works. And if it does, then we can think about, what's the best way to do this. Maybe we submit a pull request, or if not with the functionality itself, at least with some way to make it a little more generic so that we can do this without having to use a fork. But all right, what was I? So I'm in Matchbox right now. That's not what I'm looking for. I want GGRS. So we have our P2P session. P2P session. And we have a new function. And we're gonna do like a add player. And what are we gonna need? Don't think we need much. Player registry. We need a whole player registry thing. It's taking that as argument. Oh wait, hold on a second. P2P session. That's not what we're looking for. Not quite anyway. Yeah, it's rather. Wasn't it like starts? There's a function somewhere, I think, in the build, like start P2P session. Or okay. Start P2P session. Because this is the one that actually calls the new P2P session. So I just want to know what it's doing to create that player registry. And whatever else it needs to, mainly the player registry. Everything else pretty much stays the same. Yeah, so just the player registry, how we're creating that. Yeah. So my time is up. I'm gonna stop here for today. And stay tuned for tomorrow where we'll be implementing the ability to add players to this registry. And hopefully make some progress here. Cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, share, subscribe, follow, and let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to do. And I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye.